The Abominable Snowman, Astral Projection, Ancient Aliens. This is Inverted World Live. Hello, I am Shane Cashman. This is a message from the past. As far as I know, it is August 9th, 2024. This is a pre-recording that we did because I'm with my new child by the time you're watching this, most likely, and that's pretty exciting. So we got some friends in here. We got Alex. What's up,
Shane?
Alex?
How's it going?
I appreciate you coming in early to do this fun episode.
Yeah, congratulations on your new baby.
It's weird to,
here.
yeah. In the future. We're talking to ourselves in the future. We're talking to you all in the future. It's your present, but this is our past.
I hope your future self is getting sleep.
Doubtful. And we have Carter Banks.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude.
Congratulations on the new child coming into the earth.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll bring the new child here. I'm sure it'll want to check out the skate park soon. My other kids want to check out the skate park.
Yeah, I was putting myself in his eyes, watching his father say this introduction. Once he's born and old enough to know what YouTube is, he'd be watching that.
Unfortunately, our oldest knows what YouTube is, but he can never use it because it's a dangerous
That's
wasteland.
probably a good thing.
Oh yeah, there's no way he can get on there. But you are here, Carter, and you are very integral to the Inverted World life. You, for those who don't know, Carter made our theme song. That was like 3 eons ago.
Yeah, man.
And we love that theme song.
Dude,
Thank
I
you
like
for
it
that
too.
theme song.
It was such a blast making it, and I've been blessed with being allowed to make like 3 iterations of it at this point. So
Yeah, people have heard the newest one, and then before that we had the one for the Georgia book that we did in the Georgia series, which oddly someone stopped me recently. This has been happening, and they
Really?
specifically for the Georgia book, and they were like, we listened to it, so they were all about the theme song and your audio stuff.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen that, that's all on the behind the paywall up at Timcast. That's the Ghost of the Civil War book.
Yeah.
Which is one of my, I don't know if it's my favorite part of the theme or not. It's just so good. It's got the banjo in it.
dude,
Oh yeah, it's fun.
You went to town on that. You made it
playing that
sound.
banjo.
Did you play?
Yeah.
Like, it was actual you playing banjo, right?
Oh yeah, I think Nick has Dude, it was so
Yes.
weird because he recorded me playing it, and then for the vlog at the time, and then I fell off the stool that I was sitting on somehow.
Great. People are gonna
I
blame
blame
me
ghosts.
for any faulty issue that happens in this
join the
house.
club.
Well, Carter, what else do you do here?
Pretty much everything musical and Trash House related. Trash House is the record label that we've started. That Timcast music is on, and a few other projects up and coming, working on a new song. I wore this. I'm going to take it off now. Just wanted to give it a quick plug because Jessica made it, and it's really
sick.
cool. It's got my signature on it, and you can get it at the I think it's Teespring.
Oh, yeah.
Trash House Teespring.
Probably, yeah.
But anyway, man, all music stuff. Whenever we need theme songs like this and Pop Culture Crisis and stuff.
Or audio engineering.
And then troubleshooting audio issues.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I guess all things audio.
Do you
minus
have,
the ones that
new
search it.
songs coming out anytime?
Yes. I've
Can
been
you say-
working on...
Can you say how soon?
Well, we're going to have at least 3 come out before November.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
That just has to happen. So
awesome.
there's one that I'm finishing the mix up like today. I was listening in the car to it. It's got Phil on it.
Oh, wow.
I needed to make it extra heavy, so it's taken a little bit of time. But
So that's Phil from All That Remains.
Yes,
For those
yes.
who don't
Phil That
know,
Remains.
who's on tour right now is
got a
Megadeth.
feature. It's crazy.
On a crazy tour with Megadeth. So great, man. Well, one of the first things we talked about when we talked, and this is years ago, when we talked about paranormal weird things, you brought up something I never hear about from anybody, and that is the Abominable Snowman.
yes,
What drew you to that story?
dude, I think it was like I had to give a speech in high school, and we had to pick something to do like an informative. I don't know. I've done a couple of papers, a couple of speeches, but I was like, can I do the Abominable Snowman? She's like, you can do the existence of the Abominable Snowman. You can make an argument for that. So I started looking into it and found like all of the original, like the Shipton print and like all the stuff like And before I knew it, I was doing like a couple of 10-page. It would be my, I would return to the topic like every time I had to do a speech or like an essay or something like that, and then continued writing this stuff into college. And I'm like, all right, well, this started as a joke. Now I'm kind of like sold on the idea that there's an abominable snowman.
Really? So it started off as a joke? Alex, were you going to say something?
Kind of.
Would you say that the abominable snowman is like Sasquatch, but like in the cold?
Oh, I think this is...
Here's the thing.
This is controversial.
Is it really?
I kind of like don't believe that there's a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I only believe that there's an abominable
It's
snowman.
it's just different weathers, right?
Well, maybe they're related, but the
I think
Sasquatch
there's probably
people...
more than one.
I wonder what the Sasquatch people think about the abominable snowman.
I don't know.
I mean, if you compare pictures, it's just like big fur.
That's a good question though,
Yeah.
because like, are they all from the Yeti family or?
Right. When it started with you, was it just... So you said it was like a joke, though? Like you were not so serious about the existence of it, but you wanted to look at research?
I was just like, what is going to make me write 10 pages about something,
Where did you see... Do you
Abominable
remember what
snowman.
inspired you? It's just interesting to me. I've never thought of the abominable snowman. I love saying
I
abominable,
don't. I'm
by
trying
the
to
way.
think. I think I was just trying to like see how ridiculous of a topic I could come up with, and because I think maybe the first one was a speech. And I'm like, I would like to. Everyone's doing something serious, so let's just try and seriously make them think that I'm doing this. And yeah, it was kind of like, it was fun. I got this. I got most creative topic award in English class in college.
So that inspired you to keep going
Like,
down
well,
the
let's
rabbit
do
hole.
it again. And I've already done some research, so
Here we are again. How many years later?
informative became persuasive.
Can you give us a brief rundown of what this even is? Like, what is? Why do we call it? Why do some people call it a Yeti? Do you even know? Do you know that?
I'm not sure.
It's weird.
Yeah, there's like old, like, so I think Mount Everest is where the first, like, that's as far back as like recorded footprint evidence goes, and they call, I think it's some guy, something Shipton, discovered it on his voyage, and they call it the Shipton print, and it was they're I guess they're a family of bipedal snow non-human but also kind of non-monkey things that live in high up in the villages, or not villages, but in mountainous snow areas.
Right.
And there's a bunch of different accounts. They're few and far between, but like there are some written accounts, like, yeah, they'll come down and kill a bunch of dogs or something like that. Just weird stuff.
I saw the one about yaks. You know that one?
Oh yeah.
There's a old story of what the lady said was the abominable snowman, and it broke the necks of 5 yaks. Somehow she survived.
Was she like among the yaks when it was breaking necks?
She was among the yaks.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I like that sentence. Among the yaks.
Among
yeah, that's
the
a good name for a
yaks.
metal band, by the way.
Yeah.
Like a sludge metal band.
Yeah, seriously.
But it's a giant like monster that lives in the Himalayas.
Yeah, so it's like
and snowy
above
areas.
6. I think it's like 7 or 8 feet. Obviously stronger than a person would be. Himalaya is like mainly where you hear about it being from. And then, of course, there's the whole Mount Everest is where the Shipton print was found. And then that's about as far as I know. Now, all my knowledge is stored away on paper.
We should dig up those papers from that. Well, I wonder why people think like it still exists, because there's other people who are very adamant online about it being a bear. Do you ever come across that? Or why, do we think it could be a bear? Just a giant bear wreaking havoc?
You could make that argument for sure, but like, I don't know why people would say that they saw not a bear doing these things.
Right.
And the weird calls that they make,
Right.
I think is another thing.
It makes it sound
again-
like Sasquatch.
Yeah.
It's just Sasquatch. Like
it's weird.
Sasquatch of the north or of the Himalayas.
Right.
Well, they're saying, I'm looking this up a little bit to see the difference. It's just really Yeti and Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Like that's really the only difference here.
But they do differentiate.
a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit. But they're also saying that people just misconstrue like what they see. They think they are seeing one thing, but it's something. It's
But that's the same story we get for lots of cryptids, whether
Yeah.
like Mothman. You know, people.
Man, it's tough because like there's not really any lore behind the Abominable Snowman. It doesn't. I don't know. I think about that case where those Russian hikers were all just kind of like beaten to death randomly in like a radioactive place.
I don't know about that one. No.
I think it was. Let me see if I can like Valkyrie Pass or something like that.
Okay.
Valkyrie Pass. That's probably not the right one, but Dyatlov Pass. Dyatlov Pass. If you look that up.
Do you remember about when it was?
It was like Cold War era times, I think. Maybe before that, but like it was something like they think that either I don't know, they found like these different people that were hiking in various like states of being torn apart in this bizarre way that a bear couldn't do or like a person couldn't do, and it made no sense. And I sometimes think about that, like, could that have been the Abominable Snowman? I don't know.
When I think about these types of cryptids, I think about something that Tony Merkel said to us recently about this giant wolf, these giant wolves that they've been creating in like different labs and unleashing into the world, or the dog man type thing where they come through a portal, like people go to mystery schools and bring beasts through portals to unleash into the world. I'm like, and when I hear this thing about you're saying about Cold War stuff, I'm like, they could be a created monster.
That's true.
Like some crazy Russian, like, you know, let's think of X-Men. I think of Sabretooth or like Omega Red, for those who've deep into Marvel lore. Or it could be something mythical.
I'm kind of the opinion that it was just kind of like a broken chain of like the progression of man, and like this thing just kind of tore away. Because you know about like they found like those giant bones like in a cave somewhere.
Yeah.
A while back, there used to be giants.
Yeah. There were for
they
sure.
say
For sure.
But like I think they just had no reason to continue to go into the surrounding areas. I don't know about the like I think there's sightings that go back to like the 1800s.
Yeah.
So that also, I think it's an evolutionary thing, but I'm not quite sure.
I think there's things out there that exist, like you're saying, like the offshoots or things that just decided to part ways with civilization and live deep underground. And there's probably like, imagine there's probably a lot of nice ones. There's probably a lot of nice, if there are abominable snowmen, there's probably a lot of nice ones living, they're reclusive. Yeah. And then there's just one or two bad ones, like we have serial killers.
Right.
And there's probably serial killing abominable snowmen that they're like, we got to go take care of these people. I have a bloodlust that cannot be quenched.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, just like the UFO stuff, I always roll with, like, if it's on TV and they're claiming to have seen a UFO, it's not true.
Right.
It's just like when it comes to ancient aliens, like, the only reason I give that any credence is because it's all just using, like, what we actually know, like physical objects, and saying, like, this couldn't have been done by a person or a group of people, but it could be.
And it
people
could,
that came here from.
And I also see the argument about it being a bear, thinking about there are animals out there in the wild that are just unreal, like the
cocaine bear guy,
like cocaine bear. I was thinking of the wild hogs that they catch.
Oh yeah,
have you seen those things? They're like the size of Toyotas.
No.
Oh geez. Hey, if you could pull up a picture of...
Well, first I pulled up this one.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
That's a real picture?
According to, what is it, Britannica? I don't know.
Okay. What are they saying? What do they say? They have like an actual page?
Oh, let's see. Let me exit out of this. It's just saying it's a mythical monster. Oh, wait. Why is it out of here now? Oh.
Well, that's all right.
Let's get back here. No, let's look at this thing.
Is that a figurine? Let's see here. The Abominable Snowman, mythical monster resembling a large, hairy, ape-like being supposed to inhabit the Himalayas at about the level of snow line.
I mean, that's basically Sasquatch, no?
Yeah, it's just cold Sasquatch.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I was getting at was like the oversaturation of fake Sasquatch stuff from our country, at least,
right?
Where they're like people, they have whole shows about it, like ghost hunters, where they go in with EMT readers and like, oh, we saw a ghost.
Right.
You see,
like, okay, you're kind of bastardizing ghosts being real.
Of course, that's what they do. They're watering it down. The market for Sasquatch has been watered down. What are you pulling up here? Slopes have probably been
produced by bears.
Okay.
I don't know. Something.
This
That's
is anti-abominable snowman.
Well, hey, at least they're
propaganda.
acknowledging that it's a thing, you know.
Yeah, this is on a
They're
real
giving us a
website. What did you say? This is
visual.
Britannica.
Yeah. I'll get out of there.
Well, that's good. I think anything's possible.
Yeah.
I grew up in the middle of the woods with no neighbors and constantly thought I was seeing giant creatures. And I was also horrified by the show Harry and the Hendersons.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he was nice,
Right.
that thing was terrifying.
Like, what if he wasn't nice?
And what if he wasn't? Because, like I'm saying earlier, there's some that are not nice, and there's some that are nice. I'd imagine, just like many other things. You know, some animals get rabies. Maybe some abominable snowmen.
Dude.
The more I'm saying abominable, the harder it's getting to say.
I mean, you could just say Yeti. I just choose to say abominable snowman.
Ever since you've brought up the abominable snowman, I like saying that because it's basically literally saying repulsive snowman.
Yeah, it's a repulsive man made of snow.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That lives in the snow.
Okay,
That is
does everyone out here see?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Look at Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, that is pretty terrifying.
Look at that. That thing is every time my parents made me take the trash out at night in the dark forest, I'd imagine that this is waiting for me. This was what I feared in the woods.
Oh,
Great show and movie.
I mean, there could just be really some, lumberjack kind of guys, hairy men just living in the woods, and
Worse.
they're just not
so
good
much
looking.
worse. Rather have it be an ape-like thing.
Oh man! Well, shout out to Harry and the Hendersons and the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah.
Before we get into more of your own history with any of this stuff, we are in this house. I do keep referencing that this house has some issues. Some people don't know if I'm joking or not. We've literally had a lot of things going in this house. Just a week ago, Alex unleashed some demon in this house by opening the basement door. I thought I had that chain shut, and immediately we had issues. The week before that, we had a sound emanating from downstairs. We thought someone was here. We went and looked. No one was here. Turned out to be I thought it was a dead bird. I saw the bird on the floor. It looked like it was dead, just laying out flat.
Really? Wait, so there was a bird down there?
Yeah. and
Eventually.
It was definitely a bird that could be a fake bird because it was literally just like
Thank
not
you.
even moving. It was not moving.
It
and
was
then it moved.
alive.
So it was just sleeping then?
It was, but it had its wings
gave
out.
up.
I have a picture. I'll have to get it. But it had its wings out on the floor.
In the basement?
No,
In the room downstairs, like on the other side of the chimney.
How'd it get in?
But the chimney's closed off too. So
I know.
that's even
So
weirder.
I thought it was dead. I was like, oh, we have to give this thing a funeral. You know, I'm from a farm. I buried many
Hey, dude,
animals.
every pet that I've somehow
Right.
adopted from the wild that's died, I've buried for sure.
You got to bury them. So I prepared my heart for a bird funeral, and I got a box, and I went to put it in the box, and it woke up and started freaking out. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? You're supposed to be dead. Wesley was here. He helped get it into the box and got it out the window.
man.
Flew away. The second the bird flew away, a giant scream emanated from the middle of the house.
Scream.
What?
She was like, "What?" You
I was like,
screamed.
I was like, I'm
I
outta
think you
here.
screamed. I was
y'all
concerned.
recording?
We were after because what it was, the other birds trapped in the chimney.
There was birds trapped.
And they
man.
knew their homie or maybe their mom was just released.
But it didn't sound like birds.
But it was a bunch of birds together, and when
Okay.
you hear the birds in a chimney behind that metal like plate that's over
Yeah.
it was a crazy sound. I have a video of that sound,
Dude.
and we were just like, well, okay, that's weird. And so there's been lots of
Did
weird
you let
things.
them all out? How did that work?
The next day, Wesley got in there.
Okay.
And let them out. And
Like, you almost buried our mom alive.
seriously. Well, I assumed the bird was going to come back down. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
we recorded a music video here.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Before all that, did you ever experience anything weird in his house or feel
Dude,
anything?
and here's the weird thing. Not really.
Okay, that's good.
I even came up here before we were all migrated over here
yeah,
at like 11:30
that's late.
midnight.
Right.
And nobody was here. Not even Ryan was here. I had like hit him up. I'm like, yo, just so you know, I'm something. He's like, I'm not there anymore. But
Right.
we were skunks. So I'm like, okay.
Beware skunks. Yeah.
Went into this house alone, all the way up to the attic alone. Nothing. But I wasn't thinking about it.
Interesting. So before where your
was
spot
eerie for
is,
sure.
before where your spot is now,
Yeah.
I went up there because we were scouting locations for the music video. No one wanted to do the basement with me
Yeah,
this is
Ken
before
keeps
we
telling me, he's
redid-
like, no, not enough room down there.
The
It's
basement was incredible because there's like what used to be, I'd imagine, a kill space for some serial killer out in
Seriously.
the deep West Virginia woods, because it was super creepy. Which is why I told you we can never open
I
the
think
door
it's
again.
still like pretty creepy, right? There's boots back there.
It's still
and weird
I brought up the boots last week. I brought up the boots. The boots I think are haunted. They're haunted ring boots.
jars.
Jars with fingers in them. Or
Where
keys.
does it go? Does it end? There's like a hole in the wall.
It's like being John Malkovich. It's a portal into some
kidding.
celebrity's brain. But up where you are, before we redid it, there
I
were scratch
recently
marks.
Found
everywhere.
out what y'all found up there.
I wish I might have pictures of it, but it's fascinating because I like thinking of you making music there, where there's like the ghosts of all these things I saw. Where I found the scratch marks across the wall, looked like an animal was trapped, or something else. I don't know, and a box of teeth.
What?
I heard about
Human
the
teeth. Human teeth.
What?
Yeah.
Are they like adult teeth or baby
All
teeth?
types. There were big teeth,
All
small
types?
teeth. Yeah,
No,
that's why
come on.
I was worried about the rain boots downstairs. I thought it was part of this dude's collection.
Dude.
This house is messed up. This house is really messed up.
That explains why I've been having so many issues with the attic.
But wait, why would you collect teeth and then leave the teeth? Seems
well,
important.
maybe another.
How many would you say were in there?
Oh, 5 or 6. Not a large collection.
guess that
but it might
could
only
be-
been one stash spot for the serial killer.
I mean, everyone keeps like all the serial killers keep like tokens of their.
I mean,
you know,
right? Dexter did have that one space in his air conditioner.
yeah, blood
but
slides.
Oh, yeah.
other
The
characters,
slides.
yeah, other characters, other serial killers have other things. I don't know, but it was concerning. So
Yeah.
I've had a lot of experiences in this house that bugged me. I'm glad.
Oh
you
yeah,
have
tell
not.
me about some more of them. Do you have?
Last week we kept saying it feels like we're being watched, and I'm not the type of person to say these things.
yeah.
I grew up in a house that was definitely creepy, but I've lived in a ton of places and it's just not, there's nothing happening.
Right.
Last week, before everything went haywire, I kept saying it feels like we're being watched. I mentioned that it was like the character Bob in Twin Peaks, if anyone has seen it. It's like a demon that just crouches in the corner of your room and possesses people to doing terrible things. So there's been a lot of that. And every time we're done recording on a Sunday night, we bounce.
Yeah.
Like we're not hanging.
We're like,
it's just a
lights on
weird.
out.
It's just a weird vibe.
Yeah.
That is in this house. It's a really old house. I don't feel that way in every old house. It's just something about this house. But your parents grew up across from a graveyard. Did you have anything weird?
Well, so
about
it's
that?
weird because like when I say like I didn't feel anything in this house, that's not to say I haven't. Like I'm totally open to it, just not for me here. But like my parents moved to a house across from a graveyard after. I think I was in college at the time. Then I came back last semester, and they had moved from basically one house to this new house, and it's like a nicer house, but it is across from a graveyard, and never really thought about it too much. But like they went out of town for a weekend. I was dog sitting for them. And like so many things happened that were weird that I had to write down like list of haunted shit that happened when you guys were gone. Because it would be things like, I remember one time I was like just setting aside all the random sounds that you hear in a house when you're the only one there.
Oh yeah.
And it was a pretty big house. I kind of contained myself to downstairs. There was a piano there, so I was playing the piano and stuff. But I woke up to like a TV on full blast in the main room, and I didn't even know how to turn the TV on.
Interesting.
It was very weird because you got to turn on several things to have it go, with the speaker system and the TV and all this stuff. But the biggest one, dude, is like no one believed me, and then for some reason the upstairs door, like there's a bathroom in like one of the. It was my brother's room when he goes home, but like the doors to the bathroom, they're like on those spring shut things, and we had a cat named Mistletoe, and my mom was trying to find this cat, and the cat's gotten stuck certain places before, but it took a day, and she finally found this cat inside this bathroom, but both doors were closed. The cat, and they're not the doorknobs that cats can open, like the lever ones. They're like circular ones. And so this cat was like stuck in this bathroom. So like and she would text me like, okay, I believe you now, because there's no way that could have happened.
Whoa.
If the doors didn't just open up, stay there, let this cat in, and then close. It was so bizarre.
You think the graveyard has something to do with
I don't
all this?
really know.
And just projecting onto the graveyard.
Could be.
I grew up next to a pet cemetery that I made over years, and it was not only just an old creepy house, but it had that pet cemetery, which I think has always weird connotations.
Yeah.
But like we started it in 1986, 87 with horses. You know, when you're on a farm, that's just what happens, right? So we filled it, and it just it got progressively weirder. Speaking about animals, you just unlocked a memory of a weird one. My mom, what day? It's August 9th right now?
Yeah.
We're actually coming up on the anniversary of this story from many years ago. We adopted a dog named, I'm going to bring it all back. The anniversary is coming up in about a week. The anniversary was on Friday the 13th in August. We brought it home, and my sister named the dog Jinx. She thought it'd be funny to name a dog Jinx on Friday the 13th. So we, in this farm that my parents manage, and the dogs have all this property to go out and run. And my dad, one morning, 5 days later, happened to be my mom's birthday, let the dog loose. He wasn't as adjusted to the area as the rest of our dogs. The dog bolted and disappeared. My mom had to go to work. She drove a bus. And my sisters were in school, and I had a summer job that I was painting some house. So they were in camp. My sisters went to camp. My mom drove the bus. I'm calling in late because I got to help my dad find this dog, Jinx. After we can't find it, my dad calls the cops in our little town and said, hey, we lost this dog. This is what it looks like. He looked like a pig with stripes. He was some weird mutt. So the cops are dispatched, and as our haunted house would have it, the cop who was called to get the dog pulled out of the parking lot and hit the dog and killed it.
No way.
And brought it home to us in a trash bag. So that's
okay. That one's going to haunt for sure.
Yeah. So things like that. Things of that nature I'm accustomed to in our weird house. And it's with the animals too. Like animals just make things spookier, maybe because they're tapped into things.
I do think that about animals. They say that they can see, cats will stare into the corner of a room for some reason.
Yeah. They might just be messing with you because they're freaking cats.
I'm pretty sure my cat's eyes turn black sometimes. I'm pretty sure.
So all cats are possessed.
Yeah,
I like
the episode.
I
love cats. I have too. I love cats, but there's something wrong with them. It's like they're possessed. Dude.
Sometimes they can be. Yeah.
So, did you have anything else go on at that house?
Well, I kind of got used to I've always welcomed stuff like this because I was really close to my grandmother. Kind of. She was around a lot, and then when she died, I had a lot of recurring weird dreams where she would come to me and say certain things, and it would be to the point where I could wake up and write this stuff down.
Oh wow.
But I always welcomed hauntings because for me it was just proof of an afterlife. So it's this is cool. But yeah, there'd be things I don't know. I was mixing a drink once, and I had it was weird. I was making a drink. I had this girl over, and we were hanging out. And I had, I think, I was looking for a shot glass. I poured the drink into her glass, thinking I'd lost it, and it was in the mixer. And I specifically remember this is so weird because it's just not possible. It's not something I did, or it's a weird thing. It was that. The TV stuff I kind of wrote off after a while. TVs would turn on and off at random. Sounds, lights. I used to have Christmas lights lighting up, and this is at a previous house, where I had this room connected to the attic, and there was one night, I did this thing where I had Christmas lights, and every time I would be done, working on whatever I was working on music-wise or something, I'd unplug. Either I'd unplug the lights, or I'd hit a button and turn them off. I think I hit a button. I don't know, but I woke up one morning and they were on. And they weren't supposed to be on. At the time, it was closer to my brain, but stuff like that.
Weird, another instance of you connected to an attic.
I know.
You should be careful, you upstairs. Might be some portal looking to rip you away.
I wouldn't be surprised. There are so many I've tried sealing that place off so many times. Still, somehow hornets keep getting in and then dying.
Jeez.
It's like, I don't even, there's like a
gotta
new
fix that
hornet
up there.
I know, man.
That's crazy.
Gotta figure it out.
Was this all in Texas?
Yeah.
Are there other, like, because, okay, I'm thinking of Georgia. If I go to Georgia, everyone's got ghost stories down there. It's a very haunted state. Does Texas have that feeling? Like, do people talk about it like that out there?
Not really like in terms of haunting, but I think it may be because Texas is oversaturated with people just being proud to be from there. So they're like, Texas, you know?
Right. It doesn't have a big ghost population.
I think it's got some, no?
I mean, it must,
It
right?
must. It must. There's so many good stories there. Or cryptids. Chupacabras?
Yeah.
Any chupacabras?
I think that might be closer to Mexico or like El Paso,
Right,
maybe.
you were way north in Texas.
Yeah, I was north, more north.
So where did the
But even-
astral? Well,
sorry, no, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask where did you astral project?
So this astral projection thing, bizarre because it happened in the same room that like this Christmas light thing happened in.
Oh, wow.
And the room was weird because it was like it used to be my dad's office, and then it was like you go upstairs all the way to the end, and then you go down a few stairs, and there's like a little game room area with a bathroom, and then there's another room connected, which office, I guess, and then that connects to an attic from the closet. It was very cool, but also like it was sloped, so you had like my bed was in a spot where I was looking, or I was laying this way on this bed. The ceiling was sloped over me like this, and then my desk was here. There's a bathroom door here that went to like out into this other room. It was a common area, and the attic door was like over here inside my closet. But yeah, I had this dream. It was just like a nightmare that I had, and it was like really realistic, where like, I don't know, a lot of weird stuff happened, and I made friends with this like rocking horse. My best friend in the dream was like this humanoid rocking horse. You know how in dreams things that seem, you wake up and you're like, that is so weird.
Did the rocking horse have any history with? Do you have any history with this rocking horse?
No,
outside in the real world.
Not that I remember, or I don't think I've even ever had a rocking horse. But it was just like one of those random things where it's like, in a dream you're like, yeah, of course, and then you wake up and you're like, that's so ridiculous. But
Did
anyway,
it talk to you?
I think it did.
Or maybe you're telepathically communicating.
But yeah, it was really violent, weird dream, like different scenarios, vividly. Like, I don't want to get too far into the weeds with it, but I woke up from the dream and couldn't move, and the dream was still happening. So I guess I could see the shadow of the rocking horse guy kind of coming into the bathroom in my room. And then I was kind of like held down by the weight of whatever was, I think I woke up during sleep paralysis and a lucid nightmare. So as soon as I was able to get up, I, of course, got up, exited the room, and started Googling what just happened.
Wow.
And found like astral projection, lucid dreams, or what, people see dark figures and stuff, and these sleep paralysis things. And I'm like, well, I'm never sleeping in that room again. And I didn't.
You think the room had something to do with it?
I don't know. Might have.
Did it ever happen again or before?
There was one time before where I had astral projected, but it was more like I just got up, went through a routine of like brushing my teeth, and then I was like about to leave my apartment, and then I looked over and saw myself sleeping.
How do you know?
Then I woke up.
How do you differentiate an astral projection?
I think astral projection is just like you're outside of your body as some kind of orb, or just anything. And then I guess it's an out-of-body experience, whereas like a lucid dream is like a dream that seems too real.
Right.
But you're kind of half awake when you're having it.
So you were sleeping, dreaming, talking or hanging out with this rocking horse.
Yeah.
And then you woke
I
up,
woke
but
up.
you woke up into what
Well, I
could have
thought
been
I
actual-
woke up.
Or you thought you woke up.
I think I still think I woke up. That's
Because
the
you're still
lucid part.
seeing lingering
Yeah.
characters
But I'm still, the dream is still going on, just now I'm in my room. And it's almost like the rocking horse got pulled through the dream into my world.
My goodness.
It was so weird.
Have you seen this again?
No, thankfully.
Wow. I'm like afraid for you to.
This is a
come across
one-time thing. This never
rocking
happened
horse
again.
in public at some point.
Dude, I don't want to jinx it.
Speaking
Hopefully it
of
never
jinx.
happens. I mean, he was supposed to be my friend, in the dream. So,
I wonder who it represents.
yeah, me too.
Have you ever astral projected or like had lucid dreams?
Not astral projected, I don't think. You know what though? Chris always he'll have dreams where he can wake himself out of dreams. I always find that fascinating. I dream really hard. Like I'll dream.
I could do that too.
And I'm in another world.
Interesting.
But I can't wake myself up out of a dream.
Oh, me neither. Me neither.
But
For me, you just have to die.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I thought that was dangerous.
Well, if you see yourself die, it's dangerous.
See yourself die.
But if you're like falling, you're like, I'm going to die, you wake up, you know. But if you're like, you see yourself dead, then you're apparently dead.
Yeah.
I had, like, that house I was telling you about, my whole childhood is, I was haunted by dreams of me dying. Constantly. I was dying in my dreams every night. And I would wake up my parents every night. This is like 3, 4, 5, 6, super young, telling my mom, like, I don't want to die, because I kept dreaming about death. Like, I have a weird relationship with death. Like, my whole life.
This happened in your childhood house?
Yeah.
And you would just go to sleep knowing you're going to have a dream about dying?
Yeah.
Like, what, were they different ways every time? Or
Constantly. Falling, burning.
Oh, man.
Lots of assassinations. It was like people, like, were chasing me with AK-47s. And then this carried into, like, I stopped having the dreams. I swear, this is so weird. This is true. When I was a freshman in college, 3 different people who I know, but they don't know each other, in 1 week, all had the same dream about me dying.
That's crazy.
But it's worse than that. All of them said I was ripped to shreds by a sound.
A sound?
Sound. Yeah. All 3. Different, did not know each other. I was like, how are they playing, tricking me? They didn't. This is before Facebook and any of that stuff. There was Hot or Not or more MySpace, but
that's crazy.
They weren't friends. Isn't that weird?
And they called you to tell you about this?
Texted or called, yeah.
They felt so compelled that they should tell you about this dream. See, that's another thing. When people die that are close to somebody and they want to reach out to the person they're closest to, they sometimes will, from what I've heard, like reach out to somebody who wasn't as close to them to deliver the message or something like that.
Yeah, it could. Who knows what that stuff means? What that means? I mean,
you're still here.
I'm still here, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Well,
I used to from the past.
I used to have reoccurring dreams, and it was one in particular where I was always crossing this bridge, and it was always very long and thin. It was always nerve-wracking because you're crossing a bridge, and I don't know why it stopped or why I was even having them, but they say things like that, like along those lines.
Yeah.
You're working something out.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Or a transition in your life.
Seeing as how I have always had a relationship with death, I think I might represent death to some people, because growing up on a farm with all the funerals I've had to perform, and then just
so do animals like you in general, or are they scared of you?
No, animals we're chill. We're good. There's some that don't like me for sure. I've been hurt by a lot of animals.
Dude, me too. Like dogs.
Oh yeah.
Me.
Oh no. Interesting.
Yeah. No.
I think they do.
Because you just said you're a cat person.
Well, I am a cat person for a reason. I got bit by a lot of dogs as a kid. But I also didn't know that if you're scared of a dog, they can sense it and then they bite you.
Yeah.
I've said on the show before about good vibrations. Do you know the history of that? Why Brian Wilson thought of that? Because when he was a boy, he asked his mother why that dog was barking at that man, and she said because dogs understand like bad vibrations or good vibrations, and they understand if it's a bad or good person. That obviously stayed with him, and he got good vibrations out of that, which I love. A great song, but no, I have a fine relationship with animals. It's just death. Always been that way, and I've had a weird like comfort with it. Like I've been with many people as they've died. Animals, obviously, my grandparents and other people taking care of elderly as they're on their way out, been in hospice, visiting people. I think it's a very strange. I know some people want to avoid it, and I totally understand it. Death, they just don't want to be near it. They don't want to have to hear about it. I know people around our age who've never experienced death, which is wild to me. Like I've lost people my whole life. Yeah. And dogs and horses that I've loved, and friends from all types of reasons, but it's just crazy to me that some people are so, and I think that's a lot of society that is cut off from death, and that might be on purpose. Our society has sterilized death, which they shouldn't have done. It's a sacred, sad thing, So maybe that's my way of working out why these people dreamt of death, of me dying. But it's weird, and it's my whole life, childhood was bothered by dreams of me being chased through the woods, all types of crazy stuff. And then my grandfather was a hearse driver, So
Okay.
there
There you
is
go.
also that.
Do you think that drove you into this line of work?
Oh, bada boom! I'm gonna because the hearse and the driving is good. Perhaps I don't know. I think it was that old house.
Well, we also talked about generational trauma.
There's also that.
So you could have been born into God knows what, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe something your mother was dealing with when she was pregnant, or even
man.
just
Oh yeah. I think for sure. There's so many. We could psychoanalyze me all day, but I mean,
Right.
my grandfather was a hearse driver. Before that, he was a cop in New York City in the 70s. When that city, it was like that's the summer of Sam, that's Son of Sam. That's Berkowitz.
Yeah.
But people just think of Berkowitz, but that city at that time was completely a hellhole.
Yeah. It's like Gotham.
So it was like exactly like Gotham. The whole place had been, all the villains had been unleashed.
Yeah.
And he would tell me he had a dead body every day. He would have to go and sit with a dead body because it was some crazy crime. And not just like, oh, that's dead person. It's like the walls are painted red and there's a baseball bat there and no one knows what happened here. And he has to sit and wait for the people to come take the body. So he got in the habit of talking to dead people because it would help pass the time.
Interesting.
So then maybe I have some issues due to that. So there is that. And then it seemed like a nice transition from him being that to a hearse driver.
I wonder if he talked to them on the way to the funeral
In
home.
fact, he did. He sang to them. He had a great singing voice, and he sang to the dead as he drove the hearse, which he
sweet.
liked because
What kind
it
of
had
songs
good
did he
legroom.
sing?
Probably the old 30s, like standards.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I never
Just
thought
when
of
you
it,
think
but
about
yeah,
like
it
an
is.
old 30s song playing in like
ragtime.
it's usually ironically scary.
Yeah. There's a song my second or third cousin. I don't even know how to describe it. Maybe it was his second or third cousin. I forget the name, but there was a guy who was a pop singer from like the 30s, and he had real big hits. Like one song called "Shaving Cream." We should find it. I'll post it. But he was singing these types of songs. Those are the things he liked from the 30s and 40s, and that's what the dead people would hear on the way to their.
It'd be really creepy as if like one of those songs was being like emanated from the basement of a funeral home, sung by a dead guy.
We should record it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of his life, I sat with him at the very end. I was with him as he died, and then his funeral was on my birthday. So you see, I have a very strange relationship with death. He would have laughed about all that because it was hilarious. We had a very dark sense of humor that we always talked about. So this is not a therapy session for me, though.
Well,
Everybody.
it all made me think that like I found
be.
out the other day that my grandfather's dad was a veterinarian and owned a veterinary clinic in an animal hospital in Canada.
Whoa.
So yeah,
Those
my dad
places
just
are
told me
weird.
this. I'm like,
vet clinics
huh.
are strange.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He was also a musician, so
Oh, interesting.
His son, my dad's dad, was so just weird animal music stuff passed down to me, I guess.
Interesting. Pet sounds. Another
Yes.
reason for pet sounds. So when it comes to ancient aliens, where are you? You
Where
like that
am
transition?
yeah, it's great.
Dude, it's weird. Like everyone always makes fun of the show and how ridiculous it is.
Because the guy.
Which show?
Well, it is.
The guy,
It's,
it's
oh yeah,
aliens.
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
You know the name. Of
course I
He's
do.
Greek?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I like him.
But yeah, they're all. It's like they almost shrouded everything. It starts off like there's a reason it's on the History Channel. It's because like it really just shows you old monolithic structures that still exist, and then they speculate about how. So it's like, Baalbek, there's a temple of stones of, 176 stones lined up in such a way. Could it have been aliens? Ancient alien theorists say the answer is a resounding yes. And then it goes on and tells you like facts that are true that, and then they inject their ancient alien stuff. Like, I don't think it was necessarily ancient aliens, but all they say those are just like, is it possible that people smarter than us came here before we got here and did some stuff?
What do you think?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Where do
course.
where you go with that? Is there a certain type of theory you subscribe to? Because there's so many.
I think that like some people say like that's where all the Greek mythology comes from, like the Greek gods were aliens. Some people go as far as to say like Jesus was an alien. Like I don't think
Yeah.
that.
There's that guy going around now saying that.
Oh, yeah?
Billy Carson? Am I getting that? I might be getting the name wrong. I'm sorry if I am.
Oh, that's all right.
But I've seen that clip recently of a guy saying Jesus was an alien. Do you think so?
No.
No, I don't either.
No. Well, for me, there's like a circle of like, here's us, and then there's a bigger one, ancient aliens, and then a bigger circle that encircles all that, and that's like God and divine stuff. So
Right.
Yeah.
So are you of the school of thought that thinks aliens are demons?
I don't know, actually.
You ever think about that? 'Cause there's people who say these things that are visiting us are,
Oh yeah,
might just
they,
be demons.
what do they call them? Nephilims?
Well, the Nephilim could be, but the people talking about that are mostly talking about the stuff that's referenced in Genesis, I think, like before the flood, where the Nephilim are the fallen angels that were procreating with humans, and then God got mad.
Sounds a lot like Greek mythology.
I think Greek mythology is real. I don't think it's mythology.
No, I mean, we keep finding more evidence of like different
Giants.
stuff that has happened that, dude, I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. I don't know what I believe.
Did you always? I like this conversation. Did you always think of it like this, or was there a certain point in your life where you started to consider faith differently, or did you?
Oh,
always
yeah.
So let's start with. I guess we'll start with faith.
Dude, it's so weird. I was raised Catholic, so I just didn't have a second thought about anything
Right.
until like, I realized Santa Claus isn't real. I'm like,
wait, what?
What if God's not real?
Oh, it was a domino effect.
And I'm like, no, that can't be. And then I got to like 19, and I'm like, okay, I don't believe anything. I'm full blown atheist now.
Yeah, yeah,
Stephen Hawking said this,
Right.
and then I was like, but then I reasoned my way back to like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. So
right. You
none
bounced
of this
back.
makes sense. And then I had like a series of weird divine things that happened to me that kind of brought me to the point where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to make this leap of faith. They call it that for a reason. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with it. And now I'm kind of like in a point where I definitely believe there's a God. And the closest thing to that would be, I guess, Christianity for me. And so I'm kind of just rolling with that for now. I don't discount anything. Like I keep an open mind. I used to say like I believe in everything until I have a reason not to believe it.
Right. So Scientology, you're open. Honestly, though, the way you're talking about aliens visiting, that is part of Scientology, right?
With Scientology, I think that has a lot to do with Aleister Crowley, which was supposed to be like the most evil guy in the world, right?
They do say that. I don't know as much about him, but he did talk to demons.
I know he was associated with the guy that started Scientology.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you were going to say that wasn't his brother like a eugenicist and helped start
I'm not
the
quite
eugenicist
sure.
movement.
Could be.
Interesting character, and I need to do a deeper dive on him. It's just a name that's always thrown around that people know so much about. I got to get into it.
Oh, he's a bad dude.
Bad dude. It's weird when people really like him.
Who does?
Oh, I know there's people out there who really, they think he's great.
What?
There's a ton of people. There's probably running our country right now.
I'm sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Those people for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I think Scientology, I would entertain that, except for like, I think I read somewhere or saw somewhere that the guy started it basically as a way to evade taxes and created this religion that just became a cult. I'm oversimplifying it. I could be totally wrong.
You just
I'm
upset our
willing to be
Scientologists.
We have
a big Scientologist audience. And
do we?
No. Not that I know of. I don't know. But
come at me.
There are people who don't like when we bring up religion on the show. I don't care. But it's like, I think it's also important for the show because there's talking about consent. You were talking about the circles.
Yeah.
When you read the Bible, a lot of the beasts that we're talking about, or ghosts, even witches, it's in there. Like,
some stuff is just too specific.
it's baked into that whole story, and a lot of this stuff seems to be spilling out of it. Especially if you're talking about the afterlife and all these things, like there are demons or monsters. A lot of this stuff is like a lot of spillover for me.
Right. I mean, if there's something that's incredibly evil, or like supernatural that you're afraid of, then the opposite has to exist.
When did you get into thinking about other things outside of God, though? Like, was there a certain point? I know the Abominable Snowman was a joke in the beginning, but thinking about aliens or thinking about ghosts.
Man, I want to say 19. My brain just exploded.
Was there something that you were exposed to at that time?
I think I spent a lot of time alone.
That'll
with
do
my
it.
thoughts.
Oh,
yeah.
Isolation.
Yeah, I had like moved schools to a place where I didn't know anyone, and I was just solely focusing on music and school.
Interesting.
And I just didn't, like, none of my friends were in the area, and I Yeah, I just kind of thought a lot.
You became more aware then.
Yeah.
Of things because you're alone. It's weird because that kind of sounds like what happened to the world during lockdowns because everyone's isolated to a certain degree. And if you look at the chart of people experiencing paranormal things, it was spiking. So it's something about isolation. I do think.
No, I think there's something to be said about that too. Yeah, I had like really bad acne at the time. I didn't want to go outside and be seen by anybody.
Right.
I put mirrors over my windows, so like
what?
It was just like an enclosed place. I'm like, this is good for creativity, and it kind of was.
Mirrors over the windows, and you're in this room making music and reading about. Who knows what? Ghosts, UFOs.
Yeah. Watching YouTube videos about how the sun's going to blow up the Earth. And Stephen Hawking says that.
Well, Stephen Hawking was a puppet.
I know.
he can't believe anything that guy said.
I don't.
He was like the Joe Biden of
but even he came around at the end, I think, right?
Well, he said something about don't talk to the aliens, right?
I'm not even sure what he said.
I think he gave a warning saying we shouldn't talk to them. But maybe since he's so wrong about so many things, maybe we should. I don't think we should consult.
Well, I'll never put out a Ouija board and like mess with that. That's for sure.
No. I don't. You don't consult with these things. I wouldn't. Have you done that as a kid, Alex?
Do what?
Ouija boards?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, jeez. And this is why we have the demon from downstairs.
I wonder if you
terrible.
have to be like old enough to really know what you're doing and do it. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think that works.
Yes, she's a naysayer. I think so.
That's why I'm here.
I met you should be. I met a young lady in Georgia who her story was, you might remember this, but she played with a Ouija board and they did some spell. Then they said that they were all possessed and they like passed out and their grandmother had to say some special prayer over them.
Really?
And they woke up. Yep. She looked like she told me the truth.
I mean, I used to play light as a feather, stiff as a board too.
What is that?
Did that work?
What?
What is
You
that?
never seen The Craft?
No, I don't think I have seen The Craft.
You lay on the floor. Someone lays on the floor, and they they're sleeping, and then you put your two fingers underneath the person, and you go light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board, and you like raise the person.
Did you actually raise someone?
No, it's not real.
I mean,
it's like a Ouija board.
I think to an extent, like it depends on how much you believe in it. Like if you're totally not somebody who believes at all.
Well, that's true. It's like the same thing with the house. Me and Shane always think there's something here. We can hear things, so we're open to it. But you weren't really open to it, so you don't really hear the things.
I mean, I wasn't even thinking about it at the time, so maybe. But I'm generally open. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, if I acknowledge that there's something going on here, then they'll be more active and come at me. So I'm just going to pretend like I don't care and nothing's happening.
I think having to be in this house in the very beginning, knowing that I was going to film that music video for you guys, where did I die or Nancy die?
Nancy died.
I'm like, here we are again, thinking about death in an old house. So I'm just reliving memories, which is maybe the things that populate this world from the other side take advantage of that weakness in my defenses and sneak on through, and that's what I'm hearing. Because I swear to you, last week we were hearing things. Where you're at now. In West Virginia, there's weird stuff in that area. As far as I know, are you experiencing anything?
Charlestown?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just driving through Charlestown. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, something's not right. The vibe is off.
I never really go out and walk around at night.
I wouldn't.
Is this for a reason?
I just don't. I don't have a whole lot of time to do it, for one. I don't know, man. It's I know there's like dead bodies from the Civil War everywhere in this part of the state.
Yes, that is the thing. Well, I know in Charlestown, I said this on IRL last week, there are huge caverns underneath the town.
Really?
That they found, like, I think they found some bodies in some, and I think there's a theater. I think it's a theater. I believe the theater's abandoned currently, and it's got some giant cavern beneath it and like a tunnel system. My fear is that it's going to be a sinkhole at some point.
Dude.
But this whole area has a ton of caverns. In Virginia, and in Maryland, you can go to a lot of places.
There's got to be one under this house then.
I said earlier, this is a hellmouth. I think something is wrong with this
Well, you
house.
said there's a hole in the wall in the basement?
There is. Like, literally.
I have never looked back there, but I've been told it kind of goes for a bit.
Because
I'm telling you,
in
go
the foundation.
Go watch the movie Barbarian with Justin Long. It's fairly new. It's basically
Are we
that.
living that?
Well, like Justin Long gets this like Airbnb, and like the basement, there's a basement door, and he goes down there, and there's a hole in the wall, and then like that leads to there's something behind the hole.
What if we're just being experimented on? You know, like there's a larger thing happening here that we're just not privy to, whether it's aliens.
Wait, by Tim or
by Tim, and they put us here just to watch, you know, us all go mad. Carter's immune to it, but you and I are just like every day we're like, what is going on in this house? Why? Every time we leave this room, something weird happens.
There's cameras everywhere; they're always on.
Yeah, that too.
Right. Maybe it is some type of paranormal Big Brother that we don't know about.
I mean, I believe it.
And you know, the state of West Virginia, I mean, there's a lot of like drug stuff here, right? And don't you connect drugs
portals.
to exactly
Drugs open portals. There's a lot of meth.
That opens portals?
Oh yeah, that's a theory that taking drugs.
Like the psilocybin type stuff.
Well, there's that. They would say, you know, taking certain things get you to see the machine elves. I guess that's the.
Dude, have you ever heard about this this trend where kids will take they'll overtake what is it, Benadryl?
No, I took other things, but not.
Well,
that.
there's like this whole wormhole or this iceberg of things on the internet or on YouTube. I watched this video. There's like a 700 Club where you see the Hat Man and all this weird stuff. Or if they just take a bunch of tabs of Benadryl. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But like it apparently brings everyone to the same place, and it's really bad.
Interesting.
I mean, I'll take one melatonin, and I'm like, what just happened to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do anything anymore. But in my previous life, there was a lot of that pharmaceuticals and other stuff. And I don't know if we all went to the same place, but I went somewhere for sure.
I just feel like if you're gonna say it's the drugs, and does it really count?
Well, it could be the thing that opens it up because it would connect to ideas of people going to a shaman to take ayahuasca or something to visit a place, you know, to open up, to thin the veil between whatever's here and there.
But that seems like therapy.
Could be. What I was doing was not therapy.
Right.
And when I took certain plants, we'll say, I don't know if I said this before or not, but when I took mushrooms, when I ate those, every time, for the first 3 or 4 times, no matter how much I took, I would pass out within 30 or 40 minutes into it. I think from like a fear, because there was no going back. And this happened the very first time, and then a few next times, I think because of the first time, what went down. But 30 or 40 minutes into it, I started sweating, and then I would pass out. And then I'd wake up, and oddly enough, it has nothing to do with the name of the show. Everything was upside down. Everything was inverted. My vision was upside down, and my friends would say I was talking, and it sounded like it was upside down.
But that's the point. Well, not exactly.
I didn't want that to happen. Like, I was not happy about that happening.
Yeah.
And then it would wear off, and I'd be fine, and it was totally fine. But
imagine if it never wore off.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that would suck.
I think sometimes I wonder, Carter. Sometimes I wonder because it happened all those times, and it was very bothersome.
They say that like excessive or like just smoking marijuana for some people can bring on full-blown schizophrenia if it's like in your history.
I think everyone's different with all these things, and everyone has different reactions, whether it's alcohol, substances, whatever. Everyone's got something different going on with them. And for me, I just realized I had to cut out not everything. Like, I still have a drink here and there, but I don't do anything else. I don't mess with stuff because it opens up something in me, like paranoia. I'm already paranoid enough.
Oh man.
I'm living in a Big Brother nightmare with the paranormal house. I can't do anything else, you know. Why, you have anything like that for you?
I mean, I just don't do the plants because it just doesn't do the same thing for me that it does for everyone else.
Everyone else is having a great time.
Yeah.
And I'm
paranoid?
like, I'm trapped,
and
I'm trapped in a hell. What was the second part? What did you say?
Hallucinations and stuff. It's just like the anxiety. It's just weird. It's
maybe you are like,
I think I probably have the same thing you do.
Maybe you're astral projecting.
Could be.
Like, it's triggering some astral projection in you.
It's triggering something. It's just not fun. Like, sometimes it's just like not. I remember a time in college or whatever, like I had, you know, tried a little bit of the plant, and I just like hallucinated this person sleeping on a couch, and so I slept on the floor next to this person because I couldn't. It's like, well, there's no room on the couch, obviously I'll sleep on the floor. It turns out no one was ever on the couch, but I had seen this person get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, come back, just like normal stuff. So weird. So they're like, why'd you sleep on the floor last night? You were the only one up here. I'm like, what?
To what extent do you think you stop thinking that anything's possible. Like, do you think there are evil people in DC right now that are lizards? Like, do you stop at a certain point? And you're like, that's too much.
With the lizard
Alex,
people.
there are lizards in Washington, D.C. That's why it's a swamp. That's why it's a swamp. They're like, it's like a heat rock, and they're all there.
Maybe it's like a metaphor.
Like, do you stop at a certain point?
I want to say there's like a, what do you call it? Like an Overton window for my brain with what's acceptably ridiculous.
Where does it end? Where does it end?
I would say it kind of like that's at the edge.
That's at the edge?
I'd have to like. Okay, so here's something weird. I was watching some YouTube video. This photographer had taken pictures, and he talked about like the most haunted pictures he'd taken. He took a picture of like a family of, I think they were politicians one time, and like the picture just came back, and they all looked like ghoulish skull, almost like lizard people. And he's like, I don't really know why this was, but like the guy who was ushering them to the picture, whatever, was like, I've got a really bad feeling about this group of people the whole time. And like, he showed the picture. So bizarre. So
I think there's other things living amongst us.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know what they are. You don't think so, Alex? You don't think there's demons?
Well, sure.
I think there's demons. I mean, if you think about all the things we talked about, like the guy who took over just a few weeks ago, we talked to a lady whose brother was like, I don't know what
mental
happened.
Health. I mean,
possessed. You could say mental health.
Yeah.
I think possessed by something, and maybe there's a thin line between those two things. But some people just turn into straight up monsters.
Yeah.
And is it just a wiring problem in our brains? Or
I don't think I think there's proof that it's not because of exorcisms and like people that have been speaking in different languages that they couldn't have known.
Right.
And they have records of this.
Yeah,
which is also why I like went back to the Catholic Church. I'm like, okay, interesting.
Because of exorcisms.
Because they're the only ones that do that.
People keep saying I should have an exorcist come perform an exorcism on this room. They'd
have to get like an agreement they'd have to get permission from the Pope.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All of them?
I think so. Yeah.
Really?
From what I understand, I could be wrong.
Who do I know at the Pope?
Yeah.
Is Seamus Coughlin know
You'd
the
have
Pope?
to get Seamus involved.
Yeah.
You'd have to make the connect.
Someone call Seamus.
I know, but you don't really want to bring anyone in like that. Because I think we could bring in a psychic, a hypnotist.
No, I want to talk to him. I'll talk to him. I just don't trust it.
Yeah.
That witchcraft.
You
I
don't
think
want
it,
to
I think it
invite
opens up some issues. But maybe we have a exorcism come through the house. There was that lady, I think on our first episode, who talked about her Taco Bell was haunted.
Right.
And she
Taco
brought it,
Bell?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, she had a real issue with a demon at a Taco Bell.
Really?
Yeah, it was brutal.
Why?
I don't know.
Too much hot sauce.
What did it do?
It kept I think there was a little fire.
Yeah, there was a fire.
And things were falling.
Things were falling off the
She just kept
shelves.
experiencing issues, and
They
at
brought in
certain
a priest.
They brought in a priest and performed whatever you call it. It was something I can't remember the word.
Oh, were they like sage the corners of the room and like?
It was whatever it did, it was some official thing on a location, and I think that's something. And it goes back to what we were saying about West Virginia and all the dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah,
that has an effect, I think, on a location. Whether I don't know what's going on.
Well, if you really think about it, they used to say like the whole Indian burial ground thing, but like everything's an Indian burial ground.
Yeah.
everything's
There
a
are
burial
people
ground.
buried under every stone.
There's dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's a corn reference for those.
Is that a
I
song
didn't get it.
title?
Dead bodies everywhere. All right, but that is how it is.
Yeah.
Like growing up on Revolutionary battlefields in New York or Civil War and Civil War here and
Yeah.
Revolutionary battlefields here, there's something wrong with the land. And that's what people, when I'm in Long Island or when I'm in Georgia, where they had the March to the Sea, everyone's like, something's wrong with the land.
Speaking of Long Island,
My favorite topic.
what is y'all's take on the Amityville horror?
Yeah. Well, they say that's not really true or something, right?
I don't know.
There's,
I think it's
so
something. Something's wrong in that.
The
house.
murders happened.
Yeah.
Like that. What is his name? Danny something.
I forget his name.
Killed the people in the house,
Right.
and then like it was bought by those other people. I forgot their names, and they say that they had created a hoax for press.
Right.
Right.
But like the underlying story is true.
I think the hoax could be a way to make it seem like it's
Could
not
be a way to
happening.
discredit it.
Because all the stories I've written about Long Island, especially the Long Island serial killer, that guy, the suspect who's been in jail for over a year now, he lived right down the road.
The Gilgo Beach guy?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
His like storage spot and everything was right by it, like 7 minutes away. There's something wrong with that place.
Interesting. Yeah, because the guy that did the original family murders, there was not really a reason for him to do that.
Yeah.
And he like went to the bar afterwards, and so weird.
I do think a place can have an effect on you, whether it's
if
a ghost in
anything's-
that place
right.
or a demon, something in there,
Yeah.
in the land has been baked in, something evil.
For sure.
The Long Island thing, you go look, there's like a circumference of serial killers that emanate outside of
Yeah.
Amityville. Rifkin's one of them. Spacing on this other guy's name. If you go look it up, there's a bunch of guys who are in prison now, and then this new guy who may or may not have been operating undetected for about 30 years.
That's crazy.
And I remember one girl I spoke to who was an amateur investigator in that Gilgo stuff. She was like, this place is just screwed. Like all these places are just like, she was saying Indian burial grounds, but when
there's just like so much evil that's happened in that place over the last
honestly,
couple hundred years.
it might be because it's just a small sliver of land.
I always think about like Massapequa. Massapequa is like you know, a town in Long Island.
It's like a nice area,
on an Indian
right?
burial ground. It's a very nice area. It's where Alec Baldwin is from.
We all know that guy.
Totally
That's about
acquitted.
That's all you need to know.
I don't care. He's a murderer.
I don't know. Like,
In my opinion.
I mean,
but
technically,
when I was out there writing the Long Island stuff, it would just be random body parts. Like in the news, it'd be like, oh, today we found a head, or not a head, it was a hand in a suitcase, and today we found a body at this road, and there's a body over there. Or the first time I was writing it, a lady killed her landlord and scattered the body parts in people's yards.
dude, there's been a lot of weird cases like that recently.
What's going on?
I don't know.
We were just talking
man.
about the Rainy Street.
Oh yeah,
the Rainy Street
Murders
thing
in
in Austin.
So they've been writing about that, saying that there is a possible serial killer operating. That's you say Austin, right?
Austin,
Yeah.
yeah. There's been like 11.
I think
11
it's 13 bodies
Oh,
now,
13.
right? But they,
I think,
I mean,
yeah, you're right. It was like 11 men and 2 women.
right, something like that. And then there was one guy who claimed to have survived. I don't think we have enough information. All we know is that like it seems to be a certain age group.
And they're all found in the water.
They're all found in the water.
What is it, Ladybird?
Ladybird Lake.
Yeah.
Ladybird Lake. And where is that in terms of like 6th Street? Do you know?
It's right there. It's like you have to cross the bridge to get to 6th. It's like
Is that where the bats are?
Yes.
No. Oh, it is.
Yes.
Oh, well,
Dude,
weird.
were you following Riley Strain's case when this happened? This guy went
No.
missing in Nashville. He left a bar, and then they had footage of him walking. He was this college kid, and he got kicked out of this bar for being too drunk, even though he didn't have enough drinks to be that drunk. They had him walking. He was missing for like 2 weeks. He was walking on this like CCTV footage. He like interacted with a cop and was like, then he went under this bridge and there was like a homeless encampment, and then he was just gone. And they eventually found him, and he had washed up in the water.
Oof.
It was a very weird thing. No one really knows what happens. They claim to have ruled out foul play, but it doesn't seem like.
Sometimes I wonder if they rule out foul play to cover up their own incompetence or ignorance.
It wouldn't
or
behoove them
dead
to
ends.
say it's our fault.
Right. There's been a bunch of feet washing ashore.
Only feet?
Yeah, I forget where that was. I want to say Northwest, but I could be wrong. But people just feet keep washing ashore.
So with the Ladybird thing, I've heard some commentary on it, or some news analyst would say like there seems to be the same thing going on in Chicago, but when it happens in Chicago, there's a downtick in Austin, and then when it goes back to Austin, there's an uptick or the downtick in Chicago. So
that's what I think could be happening with Gilgo as well. That's the theory, is that there are a lot of unsolved cases up and down the eastern seaboard.
And it's all connected?
Yeah, maybe. You know, there's people who said no, it can't be, because there were, I believe, 4 prostitutes in Atlantic City that were found and no one knew. And before they even had a suspect, they thought there was a possibility that they were connected to Gilgo. I mean, that type of victim is not rare in serial killers, but they were all advertised on the same websites and looked the same-ish. I think they were about the same age. As far as I remember, that's a long time ago. They've ruled it out still, but they keep saying this guy's killed more people. You know, they keep bringing him before a judge, being like, all right.
He's been operating for 30 years.
If it's him, yeah. I think it is him, but I don't know yet. He seems like the guy. Have you seen it? Have you seen him?
I've seen what he looks like. I don't really know the extent of what he's been actually, like, solidly charged, and, like, we know he did it.
I think he's been charged with 5 or 6 now.
Okay.
Between 4 and 6.
Has he admitted to anything?
No, he hasn't even
saying
talked.
He's okay.
I've tried talking to him multiple times.
So he's given no statements. He's got a lawyer.
Other than the statements through his lawyer saying he's innocent.
Insert. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was successful architect. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it's wild. You know, a lot of people who I was talking to, and me included, thought he would be someone who was successful, who had a good standing in public, family. Because I was thinking, if you're operating that long, you're not just some reclusive weirdo.
Right.
You're ingratiated into society.
Have to be like
wouldn't
BTK.
you bury bodies in the walls or cement? Like, why just throw them to the ocean? Like,
that could be part of his fetish. Who knows? Because we now know the ones they've charged him with, some were found on that
the strip.
Yeah, but they were like not in the water. They were like lined up, placed like trophies on the beach, like there Ocean in the Parkway? Bramble. What
was it? Ocean Parkway?
It was Ocean Parkway, yeah, but it wasn't the side where people surf. It was the other side where I think it's a bay is, and facing Amityville. Amityville's on the other side of that bay.
Really?
Some theories are that he would take the boat from the side where Amityville's on and bring the bodies over. I had thought he drove on Ocean Parkway to pull over, and because it's a long stretch of
you could drive down that thing forever,
and you could see a headlights for a long ways away and get away with it. Anything could have happened, but he was also a big duck hunter and a big guy. Just he's huge, but a big gun guy. And there are photos of him at a gun range near the woods where another body was found that he was been charged with recently. So like they're not all at the shore. Some have been found in the woods, and some of them are just horrifying. I mean, one of them was just a torso that was found mutilated. This is what got me into the whole story in the first place, because they found a torso years and years ago, mutilated, and then when the case broke on Gilgo, like no one knew what the torso was about.
Yeah.
When Gilgo broke, they found the hands like 10 or 20 years later that connected to the torso.
Dude.
I'm like, what? So did he keep them the whole time, or did he scatter them? We don't know a lot. There's so much about it we don't know.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
It always comes back to Gilgo.
I can't, it will haunt me forever. So many weird personal connections to it. But, well, we should wrap it up soon.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts that you've got here? Anything we should be worried about in the world as we get closer to, anything?
Man,
the end of it? The end of it all? Words of wisdom?
I, for one, just, man, I feel like anything I say right now will be corny and unthought out.
No, it's perfect. That's all I do.
Like pray.
I mean, I couldn't set it better myself.
Yeah.
I should do it more.
Yeah.
Pray.
Praying is good.
Be a good person. I don't know.
As dark as it is, I'll say this, I still think that I have hope for everyone.
There has to be light at
I
the end
have
of the tunnel.
zero hope.
No,
Zero.
Alex,
I become
reject
more.
that.
That's good.
More and more black pill
No,
every single
reject
day.
it. You're
There's
a
a good
mom.
contrast
You're-
here.
know.
And I'm a dad, and it's very nice to want to just take that black pill and give it all up.
Well,
but you
and
can't.
I saw recently that they're saying like it's just since COVID, time's gotten so much faster,
Mm-hmm.
and then people have gotten so much meaner, angrier,
Yeah,
depressed, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I know. I know. Everyone's
Well, hopefully we don't let it happen again.
like I was late today because of that lady I was telling you about yelling at the baristas. Barista or barista?
Barista.
I hate that word.
Barista.
But people are on edge, and they've been on edge. But I reject the darkness. But it's there, and it's tough.
But because the darkness is there, we also know there's light.
That's right.
So
it's that simple. It's literally that simple. There's good and evil. There's dark and light. Carter, where can people find you, the music, all that good stuff?
Yeah, you can find me. I'm trying to consolidate everything to @Carter Banks. So you can find me on YouTube @Carter Banks. You can find me on Twitter @Carter Banks. The Instagram, the guy who got my handle 10 years ago has just never used it and won't respond to me. So I'm Carter Banks 4L, like for life. And you can find Timcast Music at Timcast Music or Timcast Songs on YouTube, and then trashhouserecords.com should bring you to the Trash House channel.
Sick. Alex, where can they find you?
I am Alex Ayala on X.
Sweet. Shane Cashman everywhere. You guys want to send me stories, I can read them on the show, or we can have you call in. That's at Shane Cashman at scanner.com, scnr.com. Hit me up. I'll get back to you guys, and whatever you're most comfortable with, we can have you call in, or we can I can read them for you. And other than that, I appreciate you all tuning in. We'll see you next time.